I tell you, it's crazy how you can lose track of time. Hey y'all, it's the Minty Caliber here, and it just dawned on me. I've been playing guitar for 15 years. I got my first guitar when I was 6 years old, and I got it for Christmas of 2001. That's 15 years ago, and I was excited. I really was, because I've never held a guitar, never really owned a guitar before, or at least an electric guitar, and I got a little practice amp with it. And it was a cheap little set, but it was something to get me started. And I had that for quite some time, and then I got the let's see, where is it? The Squire Strat right there. And I don't even know where my very first guitar went. It's probably crumpled up into like a little fucking ball somewheres and sitting in a landfill or something. I was really hard on it. But it was a first act, so it didn't really kind of hold up that well either. But out of my 15 years of playing, I never understood, or actually, let me rephrase it. I never thought on how they actually got these amplifiers to distort. Um, Generally speaking, solid state amplifiers. This is technically a solid state amplifier, but it's also a modeling amplifier. This is a weird amplifier to use as a reference, but it's the smallest one I have. The other solid state amplifier that I have, the little Gorilla amplifier, it's underneath my bed, and I don't feel like digging that out. And, well, my PV Viper 30, well, that's a modeling amplifier, and it probably weighs about 50 pounds, so I'm not holding that on my lap. But, so, I'm going to concoct a little theory in my head on how these actually work. Now, we all know there's three types of amplifiers. You have tube amplifiers, you have your solid states, and then you have your modeling amplifiers. This is a hybrid between a modeling amplifier and a solid state. The reason I say that is because this is not modeled after, or this doesn't have any specific amp models in it, but it does have a lot of built-in effects. So that's why I call it a modeling amplifier, because it does model effects pedals. So you have chorus and flanger, phaser, tremolo. And on this one you have echo sweep, echo tape, and reverb. So they're not specifically branded like effects, but you get the gist of it. Alright, so first we have to figure out, well, how does a guitar work? Well, it's quite simple actually. You have pickups, which act as a microphone. You have strings, which creates a magnetic vibration. And you have volume and tone pods. So you do have some mechanical stuff in there. The reason I say mechanical is because with the older style guitars, most of them use mechanical knobs. So, and this is technically could be considered a mechanical knob. I was about to say mod. This ain't vaping. But a mechanical knob means like you have to manually turn it instead of having like a button that you push to turn the volume up or down. Same with the tone, or like the bass or treble. You have to manually turn it. And it uses a little thin piece of metal in there that sweeps across contacts that actually turn up the volume or lower the volume. Now, this isn't your volume knob. But, yeah. So, now that's all that said, the magnetic vibrations from the guitar strings being strummed is picked up by the pickups, which runs it through your volume pod and your tone pod, and then is outputted through a 1/4-inch headphone jack, or phono jack in this case. So it's outputted through a phono jack, 1/4-inch, and then it comes into the input of the amplifier. Now, the signal coming from the amplifier on this particular amplifier, it comes back here, loops around, and goes to your where is it? Drive right here. And then from there, it goes through bass, then mid, then treble, and then your channel volume, which is technically a post gain. So this is your pre gain, and this is your post gain, your effects right here. So if you have the effects turned off, well, it's bypassed. It's bypassed through these knobs. So there's no effects. And then from there, it comes over to your master volume, which is sent back here through around this little area right here. And then this is your output, so it goes to your speaker. Now, when you turn the drive all the way up, well, it overdrives the signal that feeds through the amplifier and then gets outputted through the speaker. Now, if you turn this up even more, you can actually overdrive it a lot more. So you can get more overdrive out of it, distortion. Now, in the guitar world, or actually in any world, people think that overdriving a speaker is bad. Yes, it is bad, but in an application like this is electronic distortion. So it's just overdriving the signal. The signal that's coming from the output is always going to stay the same. It's just the signal that comes through the input, that runs through the circuits, then gets outputted to the speaker. So you're not overdriving the speaker, you're just overdriving the signal that's running through the amplifier. Guitar amplifiers can do this because, well, most of them are meant to do that, especially solid states. They are designed specifically for that. Now, if you take a look at a car application with car speakers, yeah, it's actually bad to overdrive the signal that's coming from the radio. Because when you overdrive the signal that's coming from the radio and put it into a car amplifier, well, that's a dirty signal. And that puts more stress on your car amplifier, which in turn, you can either fry your car amplifier or you can fry your speakers in your car. Car amplifiers are not designed for a dirty signal like that. The speakers that are in guitar amplifiers are specifically designed to have a dirty signal being put through them. Now, it's not increasing the watts any, it's just pretty much breaking up the signal. Alright, so the easiest way I can explain this is going back to the car stereo reference. When you turn up the volume max on your car radio, depending on where it distorts at, if you turn it up past this distortion point, you're putting a dirty signal which is overdriving your car amplifier. When your car amplifier is overdriven, it puts more watts out to the subwoofers or speakers, whatever you may use, or whatever that amp's being used for, and it's just a dirty signal and it's not good. But guitar amplifiers work on a completely different principle. Alright, so moving. I'm going to put that down now. Alright, so you're probably wondering yourself, well, how do they get distortion in two amplifiers? Well, that I'm not too sure of, but this is also another theory. So, like, using that as an example, say that was a tube amp. So, the signal comes from the guitar, obviously, and then you have what's called a preamp tube. So it goes to that preamp tube, and then goes to your volume, and then your EQ, and then it goes to your output tubes. Which the output tubes are connected to, you guessed it, the output side of everything. So it gets outputted to the speakers. Whether it be like a combo or something along those lines, like you can have a 2x12 cabinet with a separate head, or you can have an amplifier that's pretty much looks like what I just showed you, but it's a tube amplifier. And you can have a 4x12 and an 8x12, and what, is there 8x12 cabinets? I'm not too sure. I know there's 4x12 cabinets, but you can actually do stack cabinets, so you can have 4x12s, two 4x12s, and that would pretty much give you 8x12s. But that's a totally different subject on like speaker cabinets for guitar amplifiers. But yeah, so like I said, it goes from the input to the preamp tube, then it goes through your volume, and then your EQ, or it goes through your EQ, then your volume, and then it goes to the output tubes, and then from the output tubes, I believe it goes to straight to the speakers or speaker, if that makes any sense. So, and to be honest, a lot of people will tell you that, oh, well, solid state amps are complicated. No, to be honest, they're not. I honestly think that tube amps are much more complex than what people actually think. They really are. I mean, you got a lot of voltage working back there to drive those that preamp tubes and those output tubes. So yeah. And I've seen some awesome videos of people converting like old tube stereos to guitar amplifiers, and it's amazing. You guys gotta go check that shit out. But yeah, that's just a little theory I have, guys. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. This is Demented Caliber signing out.